Okay, so it's probably the second part, if I say. So they're going to be tacked on to the main part, which will be the trident maples. Where is somewhere, I don't know. In fact, no, I've got a couple of little maples. I don't wag my finger at you like that. I'm a nut, I don't know what to do. Okay, anyway, this was the Katsura Maple, and again, I think it got hit by the sun. It has got so many interesting lines, shapes. You know, sometimes you look at branches and you go, you would never pick it as a branch. You'd never think, oh, what a lovely shape, got this horrible U here. But again, it's a thing about, that's what it is. So it's about making something beautiful of a very unique tree. And obviously everything's leaning this way, so I'm going to have to perhaps have the apex is going to be crowning up here, but equally I may want to, well, I'll have a shorter side here, so it's leaning that way, so the movement's that way. Ryan Neal could probably describe it better. In fact, these days I reckon Tony of Tony's Bonsai could probably put a few words in there that would describe it better than me. I'll give it a spin now. As I say, I've had this Katsura since 2015 when it was a 4-foot sale monster. I think I got it for £40. Again, lots of interesting roots. I'll put some ordinary rock in there. I'm not sure why. I don't know whether I've got it tied in or not to that, but big gap down there. But there's a lot of this moss. I'm going to have to get that off. I'll use a toothbrush on that. It'll need a treatment with the wintering spray. And again with this, I'll come back to you after when we do some wiring, clipping and cutting. No different, same rules as in the last video, but I'll show you what it looks like in a minute. Probably be about 3/4 of an hour's work, so let's zoom back over to it. I don't know why I'm doing wiggly hands. Wiggly fingers. What is it? Dancing phalanges. Gosh. I need shooting. Cheers. Okay, well that was an hour and a quarter, and lots of wiring, but really happy. The front, I don't think the front's going to be, where have I marked the front at? So the front is going to be, so you just see that opening up. Okay, so I think the front's going to be there somewhere. Can't quite see it. Anyway, get the idea. I just want to take it a little bit off, so we just get a little bit of line there. What I'm doing is, look, I've brought some of these down. Some of the little buds are going to flare out horizontally. Just changing the angle, perspective of them. Same here, taking it down, and then just trying to create a bit of space. Same here, downs, twisted some of them around, and then I've just changed the apex a little bit, so I've pulled it and canted it over. But you've got a basic framework there of how it's going to look, and then again, same principle. I'm actually looking, potentially, we'll see how this develops, but I may not actually have this bit. I've actually got a lovely little bud here coming off. Got one here, these two here, so a lot of these are going to come off. It's like this one up here. I'll let that go, it'll go straight across, but I actually want something down here. These are going to go, same principle, so I'm always looking backwards at a junction. Anyway, so we'll give it a spin so you can see what it's looking like. And again, it's just wiring. And as I say, when you start dealing with maples and all these finer bark ones, this is really lovely and ugly, isn't it? You have got to be more careful with your wiring technique. And it's trees like this is the reason why it took so long before I finally committed to wiring in the traditional, we'll say traditional, in the traditional fashion, because it's the only way that you can, I think, get the styles that you want, the more advanced styles certainly. And you don't want to clutter up with absolutely tons and tons of wire, which is okay for some, but it's not okay for me. So what are we going to go on to next? I don't know. Anyway, this is going to break. I'm going to break the day actually, because I'm losing the sun, so I'm sure there'll be more, but cheers. But what the, oh my goodness me. What we're seeing here is the remains of one of those. There were 4 up there, and it looks like our fair feathered friends, who are not so fair. but extremely feathered, have decided to have a poke around my my semi-cascade elms. Do they never stop, these birds? I wonder if it's because of the lack of stuff. And you weren't much good, were you? You're supposed to be a Tyrannosaurus Rex. You're supposed to be able to stop all those sort of things. Although you've stopped the bugs on that maple. Right. Anyway, that looks like another job to do that I hadn't expected to have to do. And abracadabra. All repotted up into nice little plastic pots. Which I'm sure if this time if the birds have over, I'll be able to, I don't know. Anyway, now I just need to clean up that damage. It's that £15 worth of pots. Brilliant. And then we've got one of my little 7-8-year-old maples that I potted up this year. And the thing to notice here is we've got some of that all that horrible stuff around the roots. This, can't remember what it's called now. I just want to clear that away from the roots. So what I don't want is any sort of rot or anything happening in there, so I'll clean that away. Now I've got a couple of ideas for this. It's very nice in the Mame style, but there's part of me that is thinking seriously about next spring taking it out of this, just putting it back into a nice deep plant pot or a deeper plastic training pot, so I can get a little bit more strength. I want to get stronger roots and try and get some girth on it. So all I'm going to do is remove again. You can see they'll pull off reasonably easy. Got this horrible bit here, but sometimes, for now, there's not a lot I can see about that apart from taking it lower. And it may be that I actually decide to do away with that one entirely. It could be an option, actually. Or I'll be brutal and I take it back to this point here, and that can be regrown as the new. Because that's actually might be the option. Okay, I've made a decision, and as much it's going to be an experiment to see just how far you can go by doing this pruning this time of year. I've literally just removed the leaves, so in terms of the zone, I've got 3 weeks. Of those 3 weeks, the first week is when all that energy is still out here, and you can do the most development pruning. As you get further and further towards the end of autumn, then you really are looking at just tertiary, just taking off ends and tips and stuff like that. But right now, I should be able to go and do quite a lot. And what I've decided to do, there's the front. I like how fine this one is. I want this to be the main tree. I like the way it's spread out. There's a little bit more movement in it, which means that this branch here is crossing it. Now I could wire, that's the other option, I could wire it a bit. But I still want to deal with that, and there's no way of dealing with that, so the first thing would be to do straight away is to go, okay, and again we've got big straight sections in here. If I'm going to keep this as a Mame tree, first thing to do is to just go, okay, let's just get rid of that seed. Lots of growth there. Okay, so that's what we've got now. Now, could I wire? But still, it is really ugly and straight, and it doesn't give anything to it. So I would go, okay, let's take it back a bit further. I'm not doing this for fun. It does quietly hurt when I do it because I really like this at the beginning of the year. Okay, so now what mess have I got? Okay, so now we've eliminated the crossing. So I'm going to have little buds coming from there and there, and it may well be that that will be the next cut. So it's deciding where the main branch is. So okay, let's have a look at this. So that's dead. This branch, to be honest, this branch doesn't look very healthy. Possibly should have looked at that first before I picked that as my new tree, but anyway. We'll get growth from up here if it's not. It'll come sprouting from here. So immediately that's going to become the new leader for this tree here. And what I'm debating about is whether that could actually be wired up. I definitely think got a bud there and a bud there. If they go off, that will then eliminate this straight line here and this sudden dip off there, although again I could wire that. Probably would have been a good idea to wire first, but I knew I wanted to try and do something about that lack of taper in those branches going up. Okay, so just introducing a little bit of movement there. I'm hoping that's not dead, but it. Well, we'll see. We'll see. So then we've got this main strain. I'm debating with this one about actually taking it over this side here. We've got this one that's going to come straight at us. Okay, so I've induced a bit of bendy wendy in it. Probably some of you may or may not agree, but what I'm saying is you can do this sort of work now. Right now, get that bending done, set the new structure that you want to put in, and then just do your clipping around it. Now looking at here, I've got buds and everything here, so I don't want that. Here I've got buds here and here, so I probably don't want that. Sets of buds there. On this branch, because I want a lot of growth, I'm going to let this grow out. Here we've actually got some 3s and 2s, and so I'm just going to remove that. And all I'm doing is reducing where there's 3s to appropriate 2. Here we've got 3 in there, although there's a bit of a gap there, so it's not from the same point, so I'll leave that. That's fine. Here we'll see up at the apex here. Again, what I really want is going to be coming from here or here. Probably I want stuff from this point here. So to achieve that, I need those buds to come out. So I may well actually see what happens. I'll just cut it back to there, and that will hopefully induce buds there. Especially if I put this into a deeper pot, so the roots can go. I'll leave that for now. That's still green, so we'll get something from there. Well, I think you can say I've totally redesigned that. New front's going to be here, and the good thing is, because I've done this work now, safe to do so. This has now got good 3-4 weeks to redistribute all the starches, pull it back down, set the buds that it's going to concentrate on for next spring, and the next spring we'll see what flush of growth we've got, and then from there I can make selections in the post-flush pruning in May. But rather than having to wait next year to do the work I've just done, I've done it now, so it means I can get more from a buck next year. What I'll do is I'll give that a winter wash. Dormant spray, again lots of bugs on it, and I'll also give it a liquid feed, and again it was something that Dougie was saying from Watson. Now get the liquid feed on them now. It's probably a bit too late in the season to put anything pellet form. It probably won't take it because it needs heat to get that stuff into the systems. Okay, so from Xavier down the bottom of the garden, back in the land of the living. Hopefully this isn't going to turn out to be too dark. I'll wish you farewell. God bless. Happy bonsaiing. Cheers.